Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanities of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labour that he maketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth for ever. These words were penned thousands of years ago by King Solomon, who ruled over the golden period of ancient Israel. The book of Ecclesiastes is probably one of the saddest and most beautiful pieces of writing in the world. It is written by a man who has reached the absolute pinnacle of every conceivable standard of material success. King Solomon says of his achievements, I made me great works, I builded me houses, I planted me vineyards, I made me gardens and orchards. I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruits, and made me pools of water, to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. King Solomon was rich, he was educated, he was powerful, he was famous, and he looks at everything he owns and everything he has accomplished, and he says, it is empty. The establishment of the Dutch Republic in the 16th century led to an explosion of economic growth and scientific advancement in the Netherlands. The merchant class became very wealthy, and with this rise of disposable income came an appetite for art to display around the home. One of the genres of art to emerge at this time was the vanitas painting. Vanity of vanities is the same word, and in this context it doesn't mean being overly fixated on one's looks, it means emptiness. As a genre, the vanitas is rich in symbolism. What is less known is that most of the symbolism you can find in a vanitas painting was written about thousands of years before by King Solomon in his book of Ecclesiastes. Both the vanitas paintings and the literature from which they are derived have an opulence to them. King Solomon tells us about his riches, his wisdom, his beautiful possessions. The vanitas paintings are full of beautiful objects as well. In the book of Ecclesiastes and the vanitas paintings, status plays a big part. Solomon tells us that he was great and increased more than all that were before him in Jerusalem. Likewise, the vanitas paintings contain rare and hard-to-get objects like silverware and beautiful seashells that couldn't be found locally. If Ecclesiastes was written today, if the vanitas genre was conceived in our age, designer handbags would probably be included in the depictions and in the prose. Intrinsically worthless items gilded with the illusion of value that comes from enough people chasing the same object, chasing the worthless, chasing the wind. Because the book and the paintings do not only contain symbols of success, luxury, power, and pleasure. Look closely at the flowers in a vanitas, still beautiful, but the decay has begun. Look at the fruit, still edible, but the rot is setting in. The fruit is often half peeled. It's a grim, quiet reminder that we too have skin, and we too will peel and decompose. Time plays a large part in both the book and the paintings. In the book, it takes the form of a poetic comparison of times for opposite events. It goes like this. To everything there is a season, and a time with it to every purpose under the sun. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God has given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. This is how the passing of time is described in the book of Ecclesiastes. In the Vanitas paintings, the concept of time and seasons passing takes the form of clocks, watches, and hourglasses. But what is the time that is passing? It is the time we spend on earth. That's why the book and the paintings are so melancholy. Beautiful works, yes, but beautiful in the way that a piece of music composed in a minor key is also achingly sad. Because it doesn't matter how many degrees we get, or how much money we make, or how much power we acquire. Not a single one of us is going to escape death. We're all going to pop like a little glittering bubble. That's why the fruit in the paintings is rotting. That's why the flowers are withering. That's why the stack of books are sitting next to a skull. Vanity of vanities, emptiness of emptiness. What's the point? That is the question. And everyone must discover an answer for themselves. And what about King Solomon ruling over Israel thousands of years ago? Did he discover an answer worthy of a wealthy king? Well, here is what he writes at the end of his book. Remember now thy Creator, in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Or the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of a bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when they that shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets, or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought out to find acceptable words, and that which is written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether it be good or be evil.